All right, y'all. So we got another one for today. It's about to be popping. It's called Pet. Now this one, psycho thriller, psycho killer, psycho jack. It's a dude that basically he loves a girl so much, but she rejects him, so that he ends up locking her up in a cage like an animal. Pit bull. And we finna see the reaction to it. You know what I'm saying? I never heard of this movie. We about to experience it for the first time together. Yada yada. You know the script. So let's go ahead and tap in with it, tune in with it. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell. You see every time I drop some new. Now let's get it. Let's start the show.
After his love was rejected, he locked the woman inside a cage like a pet. The movie begins by showing a man named Seth waking up and going through a life that feels incredibly monotonous. Every single day, he follows the exact same routine without anything exciting ever happening in his life. He cleans himself up, eats a simple breakfast, takes the bus, and eventually arrives at work.
There's the man.
Seth works as a caretaker at an animal shelter. His daily responsibilities are fairly simple, such as cleaning cages, feeding dogs, and taking care of the animals there.
Want some food? Okay.
This nigga's like a fucking cat woman. You know what I'm saying? Like the cat lady, the old lady that live in the house by herself, but she got over like a 50 fucking cats, 100 cats, all the cats outside be roaming back to her crib at nighttime for food and shit, nigga. 100 cats in her house, nigga. That's what this dude is leading his life to become. Just the FYI. All this building up a relationship with these pets and shit. This shit right here finna lead to him owning some pets, and I couldn't bear to see him pass, so I said I'll take care of him. You know what I'm saying? Nah, he tripping.
Looking good, Queenie.
Once his shift is over, Seth usually goes straight home without going anywhere else, as if his entire life only revolves around the same endless routine. However, everything starts to change during one of his usual bus rides.
I ain't gonna lie though, y'all. If it's like that for him, nigga, he got a good way of saving money. Like his schedule, his routine, like bro, his check by check, play by play. It's easy for him to save bread 'cause he don't even do nothing. He just be in the, he literally don't do shit. You know what I'm saying? He might splurge a little $25 on a bottle of wine once every fucking 5 months. You know what I'm saying? Like this nigga, yeah, he should be able to have some bread. He's taking the bus, he's saving money. He ain't got no car insurance, no car note, and don't
After
pay for
looking at her
gas.
more carefully, Seth
$2.50 at the
realizes that
most.
the woman is
To
actually
and from home.
Holly, a girl he used to go to
$5 a
school
day.
with. Feeling both curious and attracted to her, Seth finally gathers the courage to talk to her. He starts the conversation by calling out Holly's name, even though Holly herself clearly has no idea who he is. Holly even tries to remember him, but Seth casually tells her that it makes sense because they were never really close back then. Even so, Seth admits that he still remembers her very clearly. Their short conversation continues until Holly finally reaches her stop. Before she leaves, Seth tries asking if they could meet again sometime. However, Holly gives no response at all and simply walks away.
She not fucking with him.
Even though the encounter is
Come to find
very
out, this the nigga you
brief,
don't even
Seth
wanna run
cannot
into
stop
on the
thinking
bus.
about her afterward. To him, Holly seems like the perfect woman he has always wanted. Little by little, his curiosity slowly turns into obsession. That night, Seth begins searching for Holly's personal information online. He finds her social media accounts and starts learning everything about her, including her hobbies, interests, and personal life. The next day at work, Seth approaches his co-worker, Nate, and asks for
Hey,
advice on how to get closer
seen
to a
Nate.
woman. At first, Nate does not seem very interested.
I've seen this dude in hella movies. Well, not hella movies, but I've seen him in a couple movies. I think Funny People with like Jonah Hill in them and Adam Sandler. And then the other one I seen this nigga in was I want to say Couples Retreat. Something.
Because he's not particularly close with Seth. But after realizing Seth is being serious, Nate eventually gives him a few suggestions. He tells Seth that the best way to approach a woman is by learning the things she likes and slowly giving her attention over time. Seth remembers Nate's advice and continues working as usual.
Forgetting about Sarah Marshall. That's what that nigga was in. Forgetting about Sarah Marshall.
Later that day, Seth is asked to help a doctor put down an old dog that turns out to be his favorite dog at the shelter. The doctor even suggests that Seth adopt the dog instead, so it would not have to be
What'd I tell you?
euthanized.
What'd I
However,
tell you?
Seth refuses because pets are not allowed where he lives. After the procedure is finished, Seth helps burn the dog's body before returning to clean the cages like usual. While
Yeah.
working, he accidentally discovers an old, unused room hidden inside the shelter. Seth stares at the room for a moment but eventually decides not to think too much about it and continues with his work. That night, Seth finds himself thinking about Holly once again. He starts writing down the things she likes while practicing conversations in front of the mirror so he will not feel nervous when talking to her again.
Hey, Holly. Hey, what time to get lunch? I was just wondering if you wanted to get maybe dinner. Hey, Holly, how's it going? Hey.
The following day, Seth finally visits the restaurant where Holly works. Coincidentally, Holly is the one serving him. Seth once again tries to make Holly remember who he is, but Holly does not seem very interested and simply focuses on doing her job. Even so, Seth continues trying to get closer to her. After Holly finishes serving him, Seth immediately invites her to attend a concert for her favorite band. He pretends that his friend canceled at the last minute, leaving him with one extra ticket. Unfortunately, the invitation only makes things awkward. Holly politely rejects him because she already has a boyfriend. Instead of making Seth back off, the rejection only causes his obsession with Holly to grow even stronger. He secretly begins following her everywhere she goes and eventually even learns where she lives.
Hell nah. Nah, she need to get a thing of mace. She should have some mace on her. Pistol. A fucking pistol on her.
Holly gradually notices that someone may be following her, so she tells her best friend Claire about it. However, Claire responds casually and jokes that the guy can approach Holly as long as he is handsome. After calming down a little, Holly calls her boyfriend Eric. During the phone call, the two discuss their relationship, which is clearly not going very well. Afterward, Holly talks to Claire again about Eric. Claire even advises Holly to leave him because Eric has cheated on her before and repeatedly hurt her emotionally.
So, the other night with Eric, are we gonna go there again? Forgive, move the fuck on already.
The scene then shifts to the next day while Holly is working at the restaurant. Shortly after arriving, she is informed that someone has sent flowers for her. Curious, Holly checks the bouquet and finds a card that says, "Be mine." At first, Holly assumes the flowers were sent by Eric. Because of that, after work, she immediately visits Eric at the bar where he works and asks him to stop sending flowers like that. However, Eric looks genuinely confused and tells her that he never sent her any flowers at all. Unbeknownst to Holly, Seth is also there secretly listening to their conversation. Feeling embarrassed after realizing she misunderstood the situation, Holly heads to the restroom to calm herself down.
You know what's crazy?
Without her
You know what the crazy part is? He looked like just a random regular guy outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, he not even nothing that would flag you to like, hey, this nigga look like he doing something off beat, bro. You need to probably look at this nigga like. Big facts. We need to probably check this nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the nigga, he at the bar. I would expect him to be like a dad just going out for a drink and shit, trying to wind down while everybody's asleep at his house. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing alarming about him.
Seth quietly follows her there. Seth brings up the flowers again and indirectly admits that he was the one who sent them. At that point, Holly begins feeling genuinely disturbed and frightened. She firmly tells Seth to stop following her because his behavior is becoming extremely creepy. Holly then tries to leave, but Seth continues chasing after her until Eric finally steps in. Eric immediately punches Seth and throws him out of the bar. However, shortly afterward, Seth accidentally finds Holly's personal journal lying outside the building. After cleaning the wounds on his face from the fight with Eric, Seth begins reading Holly's journal that he accidentally found outside the bar. At first, Seth is only curious about Holly's life, but the more pages he reads, the more obsessed he becomes with her.
This shit crazy because we really watching a killer. We watching the psycho build. You know what I'm saying? Watching this nigga get crazier and crazier and crazier.
Seth starts thinking again about the abandoned room he previously discovered at work. The next day, while working at the shelter, he returns to the unused room and explores it more carefully. The place turns out to be quite large and rarely visited by anyone. Seeing the condition of the room, Seth comes up with a disturbing plan. He begins turning the area into a large cage strong enough to hold a human being inside.
It's crazy, bro. This nigga diving deeper and deeper into crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? It gets crazier and crazier.
Once everything is prepared, Seth continues gathering information about Holly, learning her daily routine, and even buying sedatives because he has already decided to kidnap her. Meanwhile, Holly begins feeling uneasy after what happened at the bar that night. She constantly feels as if someone is watching her from a distance.
You shouldn't be able to buy no sedatives, no fucking any medicine that you gotta shoot up into somebody or knock their ass out for like, you know what I'm saying, some hours. That shit should not be sold to nobody without a licensed without being like a licensed physician or something. Like you can't just be buying sedatives. You know what I'm saying? That is some crazy shit. You know, like you can kill
The
somebody
fear
giving them
makes
too much
Holly
of the
much more
sedative. You don't
cautious
know
around
what
the
you're doing
people
with that.
nearby. At one point, when a homeless man approaches her late at night, Holly panics and immediately sprays pepper spray into his face before quickly running away. After finally arriving home safely, Holly locks all the doors, closes
There
the
we go.
curtains, and makes sure nobody's outside.
That
Once
nigga
she
already in
feels
there.
slightly
He
calmer,
already in
she
the
cleans
house.
herself up and tries to rest. However, shortly after Holly turns off the lights and begins falling asleep, Seth suddenly appears from behind, covers her mouth, and injects her with sedatives until she loses consciousness.
Yeah, bro.
After
She by herself.
successfully
She with her
overpowering
roommate.
her, Seth hides Holly's body inside a large cardboard box so it will look like an ordinary package. He then secretly brings her to his workplace later that night. There, Seth runs into Nate, who is on night duty at the shelter. Nate casually asks what Seth is carrying so late at night. Remaining calm, Seth lies and says their boss asked him to deliver a package. Since Nate is not too suspicious, he simply asks Seth to sign the attendance sheet first. However, the situation quickly becomes tense when Nate suddenly hears strange noises coming from inside the room. He immediately asks Seth to stay
He on
quiet
it.
so he can figure out where the sound is coming from. Seth begins panicking and tries distracting Nate because he fears Holly may wake up and make noise inside the box. Fortunately, after checking around for a while, Nate assumes the sound is only coming from a faulty air conditioner. Seth successfully
Nah,
avoids
Nate
suspicion and
got that good
immediately takes
vibe on
Holly
him.
down to the secret room he prepared earlier before locking her inside the cage.
Spider crawling on you and shit. Right.
When Holly
What the
finally
fuck is
wakes
this?
up, she is horrified to find herself trapped inside a metal cage. She panics and struggles with all her strength, desperately trying to break the lock using her bare hands. But everything is useless because Seth secured the cage tightly. During her desperate attempt to escape,
So fucked
Holly
up.
even loses one of her fingernails. The
Damn.
next day, after finishing his work, Seth returns to feed Holly before leaving her alone inside the room again. From that point on, Seth only visits once a day to bring Holly food and water before abandoning her in the cage once more. At first, Holly
Or she
refuses
pissing and
to eat
shitting.
and constantly fights back, but by the second day, she begins begging Seth not to leave her alone anymore. However, Seth insists that everything he is doing is for the sake of their relationship. Not wanting to starve to death, Holly eventually starts eating and drinking what Seth gives her. Meanwhile,
This nigga done forced them into a relationship. This nigga said, no, you don't want to mess up with their relationship. You don't have a relationship with her, bro. This nigga is crazy. This all stemmed from this nigga saying hi to her on the bus. This nigga's so lonely that he dove this deep down the rabbit hole from saying hello on the bus. Regular day at work. Man.
Seth feels incredibly happy with the situation. To him, finally having Holly completely to
Shit is
himself
crazy
makes
to
his
me.
life
I got
feel
no other
perfect.
words for this.
The
I
following
can't even
day,
say
Seth
another word
visits
for
Holly
this.
again and starts cleaning
This
up
shit
her
is
mess,
crazy.
including removing a dead rat Holly had killed inside the room earlier. While talking, Holly asks Seth what his real intentions are.
This
She
nigga got
questions
her
whether he
a
plans to
little-
hurt her or do something
This nigga got her
terrible to her.
a little
But
spool toilet, nigga. Do you see the toilet,
the
nigga?
following day, Seth visits Holly again and starts cleaning up her mess, including removing a dead rat Holly had killed inside the room.
Look at this shit, bro. Look at this. This is her piss or shitter. That's her piss or shitter. Like, nigga, you gotta be for
While
real.
talking,
You gotta
Holly
be kidding
asks
me,
Seth
dog.
what his real intentions are. She questions whether he plans to hurt her or do something terrible to her. But Seth insists
part.
that he never intended to do any of those things. Instead, Seth claims that he only wants to save her.
I hope not. Before I met you, I was just floating through life.
After leaving the room, Seth nearly gets caught when he unexpectedly runs into Nate, patrolling near the lower level of the building. Feeling nervous, Seth quickly leaves to avoid raising suspicion.
Nate's gonna be the reason. Hey, look.
However,
Nate is gonna be the reason this girl end up surviving at the end. I don't think she's gonna die. I think she's gonna be very, very malnourished and very fucked up. Very fucked up. I think this girl gonna be hella fucked up, but I don't think that she'll be. I don't think that she's gonna die. I don't think
the
that
next
he's gonna.
day, when
I
Seth
don't think
returns
he'll
to
allow
visit
for that.
Holly again,
He'd
all
probably
the
kill
dark
himself if she
secrets
died.
finally begin coming to light. Seth reveals that he has been secretly reading Holly's journal this entire time. From those pages, he discovers horrifying truths about Holly that nobody else ever knew. It turns out that Claire, Holly's best friend, who appeared several times earlier in the story, has actually been dead for a long time. The
What
Claire
the
Holly
fuck?
keeps talking to is nothing more than a hallucination inside her mind. In the journal, Holly
That's crazy, and that's why her roommate wasn't there when she got kidnapped, bro. That shit is crazy. So check this: did he kidnap a crazy bitch? Did he kidnap? Is she gonna match his crazy? Is she gonna match his
explains how
crazy?
everything
That's a
began after
level
she
of
discovered that
obsession
Eric
that's
had been
crazy,
cheating
bro.
on her with Claire. That night, Holly and Claire talked inside a car while Claire tried to
Look, I got a best friend of mine, right? Passed away when I was 15. Nigga, I still think about him to this day, bro. To this day, there's not a day that go by I don't think about that nigga, right? But to have illusions like he right there, I'm like chopping it up with him. You know what I'm saying? Have a full blown conversations with the nigga while I'm at home chilling by myself. That right there is a different level of obsession or a different level of like, that's just crazy to me, bro. That's just it's like it's levels to this shit, bro. That's crazy. That's a red flag.
apologizing
But
and
shit show.
explaining herself. But consumed by rage, Holly suddenly slammed on the gas pedal, causing the car to crash.
Are you gonna tell me? Come on, Claire. You know. Eric?
I'm sorry, you have no idea how shitty I feel about this whole thing. We were so drunk and it didn't mean anything.
Even though both of them could have survived the accident, Holly completely lost control of herself. She grabbed a sharp piece of broken glass lodged in her body and stabbed
shit.
Claire in the eye, killing her. After that
Damn.
incident, Holly's dark side fully emerged. She began getting involved with multiple men only to manipulate and eventually murder them one by one. Instead of
she
being
crazy. She
horrified
gonna
by the
match that
truth,
crazy.
Seth becomes even more obsessed with Holly after learning everything. To him, Holly is the perfect woman he has always been searching for. That is why Seth convinces himself that he must protect Holly from the outside world, even if his methods are completely twisted.
So
Having
she
no
crazy
reason to
as
deny
fuck.
anything anymore, Holly simply smiles and admits to all of her crimes. Seth could have easily turned Holly over to the police after discovering the truth, but instead, he chooses to hide her secrets and continue keeping her inside the cage.
I'll let me know in the comments. Y'all seen this shit coming? I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't see none of this shit coming. I couldn't even make a wild card before all this got till we got into the meat and potatoes. I usually make my wild card within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the video. I couldn't even make one with this shit. I had so many different stipulations playing in my head, and none of them, none of them went the way I thought. I couldn't even make a wild card, my nigga. So we gonna just stay tapped in. But y'all let me know in the comments. Did y'all see any of this shit coming, man? This plot twist. I feel that the last scare. You know what I'm saying? The last little surprise or whatever. I'm excited. Excuse me. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with it. What's going on, man?
Afterward,
I'm
Seth
kind of tuned
leaves
in
Holly
with this
alone
shit.
once again, and at that moment, Claire's figure appears inside Holly's imagination once more, as if she is still the only friend keeping Holly company in her loneliness.
I'm just making sure.
I
your
definitely
head's still
didn't
in
see
the
this
game.
shit
Playing
coming.
along.
If you've got something to say,
Yeah, karma's a
I don't
bitch.
need another useless pep talk, Claire.
The next day, Seth visits Holly again and gives her a piece of cloth so she can clean herself inside the cage.
I understand that. It's a crime of passion or whatever.
Yes.
Wrong, I do know you. I know you from this.
Seth's got a little crush.
After making sure Holly is fine, Seth heads back upstairs because he still has to finish his usual work at the shelter.
Seth is a
However,
little
lately,
fucking
Seth
weirdo.
has started acting differently
I
than
can't
before.
even say
he
nothing
often
else,
zones
man.
out and no longer focuses on his job the way he used to. While Seth is lost in thought, his female boss suddenly approaches him and asks him to come into her office. There, she begins criticizing him because several cages at the animal shelter have become filthy and poorly maintained. Previously, Seth was known as one of the most hard-working and careful employees there. His boss tells him that he no longer seems like the same man she once knew. Hearing that, Seth nervously asks whether he is going to be fired. However, his boss says she is still willing to give him one final chance. But if he makes another mistake like this again, she will not hesitate to fire him from the shelter.
The kennels
It's because he not staying on task because he got that bitch in there, nigga.
Big facts.
You see where he at? He not working like he not working the same.
Is something wrong? That's the question, isn't it?
You firing me?
Disciplinary notice.
Seth chooses to go straight home instead of visiting Holly like he normally does. While alone at home, Seth starts thinking deeply about his relationship with Holly, and slowly he develops a desire to completely control her life. Up until now, Seth has always felt that Holly was somehow able to influence and control his thoughts, so this time he wants
That
to
nigga
turn
rubbed
things
his
around
hands
and
in that
prove
dirty
that
ass
he
water.
is the one
That's
in control.
sewage water.
The
That's the
following
sewer.
day, Seth returns to see Holly while bringing only 2 chocolate bars as her daily meal. Feeling that the amount of food is far too little, Holly immediately asks Seth for more. However, Seth firmly refuses and tells her that from now on, he will be the one making all the rules. He wants Holly to understand that he now has complete control over her life.
Now we on the next level of crazy. This nigga went from obsession to control. You know what I'm saying? Full control. This is crazy how he diving. He keeps diving. He's not done diving down the
Hearing
rabbit
that,
hole.
Holly
This
begins
isn't it
showing a
either,
sad
though.
expression in
This
front
right
of
here
Seth,
is not
but
even
without
the
Seth
ending.
realizing it, Holly is actually manipulating his emotions. And just as she expected, Seth slowly starts giving in because he still loves her deeply. Eventually, Seth decides to grab extra snacks from a nearby food shelf, so Holly will not stay hungry. While Seth is distracted getting more food, Nate, who happens to be patrolling around the basement area, accidentally discovers the hidden room. Curious, Nate enters the area and explores it until
about to
he
die.
eventually finds a large cage with a woman trapped inside. Nate is immediately shocked after realizing Holly's being held there like a prisoner. The moment Holly sees another person, she desperately begs Nate to free her. She tells him to find something that can break the cage lock.
Nah, you
Still
need to go
confused,
back
Nate
up and
tries
just
to
use
stay
the
calm
phone.
while asking what is actually happening, but Holly tells him she does not have enough time to explain everything. At the same time, Seth begins
back.
sensing that something is wrong
He's
outside
back.
the room. He immediately walks back toward the area where Holly is being held. The moment Seth arrives, Holly instantly notices him standing there. But instead of warning Nate, Holly secretly signals Seth to attack him. Seth immediately strikes Nate with the baton he's carrying. However, Nate turns out to be much stronger than Seth expected.
Hell
As
yeah,
Seth
nigga, that
begins
ain't gonna
losing
do
the
it.
fight, he quickly pulls out his folding knife and stabs Nate. With Holly helping by sticking her leg out and causing Nate to trip onto the floor, she immediately tells Seth to grab a brick and attack Nate before he can get back up again. At
While
first,
she's
Seth
in a cage.
hesitates,
She
clearly
got this
terrified
nigga,
by
bro.
what he is about to do.
Hey, she run the world, bro. She run the world, homie. She in the cage, but she definitely got motion. She in the cage, but she got all the motion outside, bro. She got this nigga to murder him while she locked up in the cage. She ain't even trying to get free. What? I mean, I'm pretty sure she was trying to get free, but, you know, she evil as fuck. So she seen that. She said, oh, yeah, no, I got to keep his trust. Kill this nigga. You feel me? He took too long. Kill this nigga. Man, Nate.
But eventually,
You
he
should have just
grabs
ran
the
back up and
brick
called
and
the police or
repeatedly
something, bro.
smashes it
You
against
gotta get
Nate's
help with
head
that
until
shit.
Nate
That is
finally
some-
dies.
That's some other shit.
You have to do exactly what I say. Are you listening?
But they
After
trying to act like
everything is
bro
over,
faces
Seth looks completely horrified
made out
and
of pure
cannot believe
steel.
he
Like,
has
nigga,
just
his
killed
shit
someone.
was squished in off
Meanwhile,
that cinder
Holly
block.
remains
That wasn't
strangely
even a
calm
brick. That was a cinder
throughout the
block.
entire situation.
The fuck,
She
nigga,
even
let's get
begins
real.
telling Seth how to get rid of Nate's body so nobody will ever find out what happened. Seth points out that Nate's body is too large to fit inside the furnace they use for burning dead dogs at the shelter. However, Holly calmly says there are other ways to erase the evidence. She instructs Seth to cut Nate's body into smaller pieces,
This
remove
nigga
anything
killed
that
him
could
and didn't think
identify him,
nothing
and
of
dispose
it.
of the remains carefully so no trace is left behind.
You listening
Some
to a
pieces of
female
Nate's
in a
flesh are even
motherfucking
fed to the
cage, homie.
dogs at the shelter, so it will look as though nothing ever happened. Seth is
Yeah.
completely traumatized and clearly does not want to do any of it, but Holly continues pressuring him until he finally obeys her. After everything is finished, Seth starts cleaning the blood off his clothes and body.
Do you want to practice what you're gonna say?
Strangely enough, seeing Seth
Yeah,
willing to
you's
go
a
that far
loser.
for her actually makes Holly begin developing feelings for him. In the middle of the tense situation, Holly even asks Seth to come closer because she feels cold and wants him to warm her up. However, Seth gently refuses and explains that he never intended to force himself on her in that kind of way. While cleaning the
After
remaining
all
blood
this shit,
stains
nigga?
left behind by Nate, Seth becomes
I never intended for
overwhelmed
it to
with
get this
fear
close.
and regret. He cannot stop
This
thinking
nigga
about
went
what would
all the
happen if
way-
the police
This nigga went all the way to kidnapping this bitch, putting her in a fucking kennel. A kennel for a cane corso, nigga. What the fuck? That bitch ain't stood up on her feet, nigga, in a week. You know what I'm saying? She been crawling on all fours, pissing and pooping in a fucking dog cage for a week. Never intended for us to have feelings like this. Nigga, if you don't knock it off, bro, you crazy,
ever
bro.
discovered the murder. Seth is visibly trembling and struggling to calm himself down because deep inside he realizes that his life has already been completely destroyed.
There's no way you could possibly try to explain this and get off with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you got in trouble after he gets in trouble for this shit, there's no way that you could try to explain this in court or explain this to the judge or to the jury or whatever and try to make sense of it like you know, it was a reasonable thing that you was doing or even that that it was so crazy that you're crazy that like, oh, it was an emotional catastrophe. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, nah, fuck all that, bro. You're crazy. Nigga, you need to be in the mental house. And this time though, for this murder, you're not getting no punk ass 6-7 years of rehabilitation in the mental house, and then you get, nah, nigga, you're going to the mental house for life, nigga. You are not allowed to touch public civilization again, bro. Private fraternize that nigga, if that's a word. But you feel me? That nigga needs to be at a private location around people just like him. Crazy.
After what happened. However, unlike Seth, Holly remains incredibly calm. In a relaxed tone, Holly tells him that feeling
This is the type of crazy nigga, bro. He don't even, you know, niggas be in court. They be trying to, it'd be funny when you locked up and shit like that, nigga. Niggas be talking about the peanut butter and shit. And what they talking about is like, niggas be trying to say they crazy, so they talk about you put peanut butter in your drawers, and when you go to court, you act like you eating your shit, nigga. Nigga, you going to eat that shit, but it's peanut butter. But you act like you eating your own shit. It's supposed to be like some shit like you crazy. You feel me? But nigga, he the type of crazy not even try that. He the type of crazy talk to you like Hannibal Lecter. You know what I'm saying? He the type of crazy be all calm and everything. As soon as you get like too close to this nigga, way within reach to where he grab you, you're not getting out of his clutch. He gonna eat you. You know what I'm saying? Like he's that type crazy.
feelings of fear like this are perfectly normal for someone who is killed for the first time. According to Holly, all the panic and guilt will slowly fade away over time until Seth eventually gets used to it and feels normal again. Feeling mentally exhausted and terrified, Seth finally decides to go home and leaves Holly alone inside her cage. But when Seth returns to the upper area of the animal shelter, he notices his female boss talking to a detective who has arrived looking for Nate after he suddenly disappeared without a trace. The moment the detective sees Seth, he immediately asks to speak with him privately. Seth is then taken into a room and questioned about his relationship with Nate. Trying to remain calm, Seth explains that the two of them got along perfectly fine and never had any problems with each other. After that, the detective asks when Seth last saw Nate. Nervously, Seth answers that the last time he saw Nate was around 9 o'clock the previous night while Nate was on duty. Seth also adds that Nate supposedly had some personal matters to deal with and briefly asked Seth to cover his position outside the guard area. Unfortunately, Seth's explanation only makes the detective more suspicious. Several parts of Seth's story sound inconsistent, causing the interrogation to become increasingly tense. Even so, the detective still does not have enough evidence to officially consider Seth a suspect, so Seth is eventually allowed to leave.
Yeah, he's just talking too much, that's all it is. Look, he over there
the
about
following
to
day, Seth
he did all
visits
this shit for
Holly
a bitch in a
inside the
cage, bro, that you
once again.
kidnapped.
But this time, Holly refuses to speak to him at all. She even tells Seth that he should stop visiting her if he does not truly love her. Hearing that, Seth immediately tries convincing Holly that he genuinely loves her and would do absolutely anything for her. However, Holly claims that his words mean nothing unless he is willing to prove them. Once again, Holly begins manipulating Seth's mind. She tells him to prove his love in an extreme way by cutting off one of his own fingers for her. Naturally, Seth immediately refuses because he thinks the request is completely insane. But Holly continues manipulating his emotions until Seth eventually falls right into her trap. In the end, Seth actually cuts off one of his own fingers just to prove his love for Holly.
That's proof she control your brain, nigga. What if she have him kill himself slowly?
However, after Seth commits such a horrifying act, Holly immediately takes advantage of his weakness. While Seth is distracted by the pain, Holly quickly grabs Seth's knife and threatens to hurt herself if he refuses to open the cage door. Panicking, Seth desperately tries calming Holly down because he is terrified she might actually do something reckless. But Holly continues pressuring him until Seth finally gives in and unlocks the cage to stop her from harming herself. The moment the cage door opens, Holly slowly steps out and walks towards Seth. For a brief moment, everything seems calm as Holly suddenly hugs and kisses him as if she truly accepts him. But the entire thing turns out to be a trick. The second Seth lets his guard down, Holly suddenly attacks and slashes his neck with the knife, seriously injuring him. The scene then shifts to Holly, who has finally escaped from captivity and returned to...
I got one. I got one. But shit show. And she slided because the knife was too small, man. The knife was too small. It wasn't gonna, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Living a seemingly normal life again. She even reunites with her boyfriend, Eric. One morning, while preparing breakfast, Holly accidentally sees something on Eric's phone and realizes that he is still cheating on her with another woman. After discovering the betrayal, Holly quietly grabs a kitchen knife and slowly walks toward Eric. For a moment, the situation becomes extremely tense, making it seem like Holly is about to do something terrible to him. But unexpectedly, Holly simply hands Eric his phone without saying a single word before leaving the house. Not long afterward, Holly heads toward a place that now feels very familiar. She returns to the underground room where Seth once kept her imprisoned. However, the situation has now completely changed.
Ew.
Before, Holly was the one trapped inside the cage, but this time, Seth is the one locked inside
He
instead.
survived that
Seth's
shit?
condition looks absolutely miserable. His body has become thin and weak, his skin appears dry and wrinkled, and his eyesight is nearly gone due to the worsening condition of his eyes. Yet strangely enough, Holly begins treating Seth with genuine care and attention. After everything they have gone through together, Holly finally believes that Seth is the only person who truly understands the darkness inside her. And that is where the story finally comes to an end.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to just say right now, that was not the ending that I was expecting, bruh. At all. At all. I knew she wasn't going to die because he loved her too much. But I didn't think that she had the tricks in her bag like that. She ended up running the whole show. Hey, pussy got power. You feel me? And it was her world. He was living in it. You feel me? Damn, bro. How the fuck he survived the neck slash and then he in the cage now? Nigga looked like I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? He was fucked up. His eyes all messed up and shit. Y'all leave it in the comments, man. What y'all was expecting at the end for this ending of this movie, bro? Because that wasn't what I was expecting at all. You feel me? I was thinking that the police dude was going to find out, you know what I'm saying? She was going to be in a cage. She was going to play the role like he was crazy. And then, you know what I'm saying? She was going to get out or whatever off the situation. I thought he was going to get caught up the whole time. And, we just found out that bitch was crazier than him. But nah, the bitch crazier than him, so cold. She ended up turning that nigga into the pet. Man, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give that a 9 out of 10. I fucks with it. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can see every time I drop some new